Hello everyone, my name is John, and in this video we're going to talk about factoring, why it's important, how it can help your business, is it for you, the different things to look for when you're trying to sign up for a factoring company. So let's talk about that. So factoring, why is it important, and why, again, if I was to do it again, I would definitely look for a factoring company. That's one of the first things I would do, because you as a trucking company, you're going to have cash flow, because it costs to run that type of business. You got commercial insurance, truck payments, trailer payments. Fuel is a huge bill, monthly bill for you. So, and not and in addition to that, your personal bills at home, rent, mortgage, personal vehicle insurance, all of those things. And you need cash flow. So without factoring, you have to foot that bill, because if you run a load for a company, it can take them up to 90 days. They have up to 90 days to pay you. And with factoring, they can pay you in 24 hours, or some factoring companies within an hour. So when you drop a load and you have your signed paperwork, you can submit that paperwork to a factoring company, and they will buy that invoice. So if it's $1,100 invoice and the factoring company is charging you two or 3 or 4%, whatever the percent is, they'll pay you right then, and they'll wait the 90 days to be funded. Now, in all actuality, companies typically pay from 30 to 45 days. That's average. But even as if you're waiting 30 to 45 days, you can rack up a lot of expenses in that 30 and 45 days. So if you don't have a cash cow somewhere, or a lot of money sitting in the bank, is just not an option to be able to do that. Now, in addition to that, and some of those factoring companies, they have to wait that 90 days. Some companies will not pay until 90 days. And so you've been paid, and 3 months down the road, they'll get their money for the money that they gave you. They'll get their money back then, in addition to their fee. So it's just a necessary part of a trucking business. If I was doing it again, I would definitely go with factoring. Now, all factoring companies are not the same. The rates are not the same. The way they pay is not the same. There's a lot of different variables, and you have to look at it real close, because when you're signing that paperwork, there's a lot of things in that paperwork that people just don't know until they try to leave that factoring company. So understand your paperwork, read it. I would definitely advise you to read that paperwork, because there's a lot of things in there that you're going to need to know to protect yourself as a trucking company. The advantages, in addition to them buying your invoices, if that customer doesn't pay, or it's getting 60, 70, 80, 90 days, well, that factoring company is going to start calling that customer to try to get that money. If not, you got to do that. So you'll have to be trying to hustle 2, 3, 4, or 5 of these companies to try to get your money. Whereas if you have a factoring company, they'll do that for you, because they're invested in it. It's their money. So that's very important. Another thing is that credit checks. You can run credit checks. They'll run credit checks for you, and to make sure that the company before you even get loaded, to make sure that this is a customer that actually pays their bill. Because if not, you're going to be stuck with that, especially if you're the one who are billing them. You got to call them to make sure that they're going to, you have no, well, you can, there's platforms online where you can call and you can go to do credit checks yourself, but it's time consuming. And then you don't have the resources that these factoring companies have in order to check these businesses out to make sure that they pay their bills. Another thing is that there's recourse and there's non-recourse, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, because everybody is looking for recourse factoring, non-recourse factoring. I'm sorry, non-recourse factoring as if it has an advantage. Well, there's pros and cons with both sides of it. One of them is that with non-recourse, you're going to have the factoring company to pay you for the invoice, and if that customer doesn't pay, they're out of that money and not you, which is a good thing. It sounds good on the surface, but there's pros and cons with that. Now, with a recourse, if the factoring company pays you and in 90 days that customer doesn't pay, well, they're going to charge you back for that money. You're going to have to pay them back for that. One of the nuances is that for non-recourse, they're not going to approve a lot of the businesses that a recourse will, because a recourse knows not only if that customer doesn't pay, you're going to have to pay them back for that. But they don't want to have to go through that, so they're going to scrutinize these customers, no doubt. However, they will approve some that a non-recourse will not, because the non-recourse knows if this customers don't pay, then they're out of that money. So they're going to scrutinize the people that you run loads for a little bit closer. So that's just some of the nuances, and we'll go deeper into it as we go along. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next video.